Hey, it's 12. Big nickel. Hey, over one more.
The Giants' defense made significant strides in the second half of the 2020 season. Thanks to an impressive final stretch, that unit finished the year in the top 10 in the NFL in scoring defense, run defense, and takeaways. Others around the league took notice of the improvement as the man behind the controls started receiving calls to interview for head coaching openings. Despite the interest, defensive coordinator Patrick Graham made it very clear he's in no rush to pursue other opportunities.
Hey, Pat, how are you?
I'm doing well.
What went into turning down the interview request with the Jets, saying with the Giants, and just kind of what was your reaction to being included in that group of candidates?
To me, the Giants, this is my dream job to be here as the defensive coordinator for the New York Giants. And I'm just happy to be here. So it goes back to my days at Notre Dame with Tim McDonald when I knew him. A lot of my mentors, the people that I learned football from, have connection with the New York Giants. That's important to me. I happen to be here working with one of my friends, Joe Judge. I mean, who wouldn't want to have that work environment? So that's why I like it.
Thanks, Pat.
Yep.
Dream job? Yeah. Well, it goes back to who I learned ball from. I mean, I talked to the players about, the passion for the program, and part of it stems from who I learned football from. Charlie Weiss, Bill Belichick, Pepper Johnson, Carl Banks, those guys getting tied into it. That's important to me. And I remember watching these guys, and always the Giants games were on. Now they get a chance to learn from those guys, and especially be involved in defense. I mean, that's pretty cool. So, yeah, this is special. This is special.
So go! There you go, right there. You got me? That is good. Violent. There you go, quick. There you go, good. Get him up in front of y'all. Go. There it is. Good, AJ, good. Flat back. Let's concentrate on being flatter out of our stance, okay?
What's also special is Graham's skill set as a coach. Through his success, he's earned a nickname that reflects both the complexity of his units and his photographic memory.
Coach Graham, the computer. A lot of times you see him just think of stuff that, you could tell he's in there watching film all day and, he figures it out.
I have no clue why they call me the computer. I know this. I was told a long time ago by John Tenuta, you have to have recall as a coach. Sometimes I could get very specific. Of course, you're going to remember the play. You're going to probably remember the yard line, remember the player involved, remember the team involved. Most of the time, the plays when I'm going back to the past is learning from mistakes. So those tend to stick with you a lot longer.
In the one game, let's stay lower. That's what I'm talking about, that theory. Be lower than them, period. That's it. Don't think about nothing else but being lower than them and knocking them back. Y'all set the tone.
The foundation for that recall and unique mindset was established well before he hit the football field. Graham's attention to detail developed while he grew up in urban Connecticut and extended to his days adjusting to campus life at Yale University.
So I'm from Waterbury, Connecticut. So if you think about Connecticut, you got Hartford, New Haven, Bridgeport, and then Waterbury. And you go to Yale, which is in New Haven, but it's a different environment than what I was used to when I grew up. And that can be hard, especially being, a young black man. I'm 18 years old. You go to school that's predominantly, doesn't look like you, and it's tough. It is tough.
Despite the early challenges of fitting in at Yale, Graham eventually found his place as a member of the Bulldogs football team, as he and his teammates helped turn around a program that won a share of the Ivy League title in 1999.
I really enjoyed my time. I had some great teammates, and so that was important to me. Those guys were, really important in my life. Just the example they set. We come in, and by junior year, we won a championship. So I think we had a little bit to do with, turning around the program and winning some games.
Reaching new heights on the football field wasn't always Graham's vision. Instead, an early fascination with collecting intelligence and interest in science had Patrick thinking about potential careers in the CIA or engineering. Harrison Ford even helped foster that cause.
Clear and Present Danger was my favorite movie for a long time. And then I started reading all the Tom Clancy books and all that stuff like that. So I had dreams of being a spy. And then, so I go to Yale, where some would argue some of the spies come from there. I don't know, I can't confirm that. But, you know, so I get there and I start majoring in chemical engineering, and I ran into thermodynamics and differential equations at the same time. And for all you engineers out there, that's not a good mix.
And like any scientific experiment, sometimes the results lead you on a different path, which is why Graham eventually became a consultant in Cincinnati. But he found his way back to football through an old mentor that remains part of his life to this day. Former Yale defensive line coach Dwayne Brooks.
I'll always be in debt to Coach Brooks. That's why I'm in coaching. You know, he told me to stop calling him and complaining about my situation I was in when I was living in Cincinnati. He said, "You're gonna go coach football, Mike." "Yes, sir." And so that's what happened. Thankfully, Coach Brooks was there to help us young guys that were in my situation. And to this day, you know, he texted me the other day, just checking in, monthly check-in, you know, stay strong. You know, the same thing. You know, he's always doing stuff like that.
His former coach's advice set Graham on quite the journey, as Patrick bounced around the coaching ranks for several years, before finally landing his first NFL gig with the Patriots in 2009 as a defensive assistant. Arriving in New England was quite the experience, one that completely opened new horizons in the art of teaching X's and O's.
New England, I learned football, NFL football. Thought I knew, had no clue. You have no idea what this league is about football-wise. Then I come here to the Giants, and I learned there's different ways of doing things. Here you go from coaching Chandler Jones and Rob Ninkovich and Vince Wilfork to all of a sudden now you're coaching JPP, Jay Bromley, you know, different guys. It's just different types of players you're coaching. I had to get used to that, and it was just different. It was a good experience there.
We gotta play with extension on the edge. You got me? Period, point blank. We gotta play with extension. Everybody got me on that one? And don't forget, early downs, all the balls are coming out quick. Hands up. You might get another interception. You got me?
Then I go to Green Bay, and Coach McCarthy, about as organized a man I've ever been around. Then I go to Miami, and I got a chance to reunite back with people that I knew. Brian Flores, the head coach, you know, Josh Boyer, who's the defensive coordinator. Like, we all grew up together, so, you know, and I mean, like, me and Flo and I share the office together. He's going to demand that you do your best. So, like, and then on top of that, then you learn ball from, I mean, guy almost called a perfect game in the Super Bowl in 18, so. So, you know, there's that standard right there. All right, so this right here is the training camp install for practice today. So tackling circuit, so scallop and sled. So Rome, you could do the scallop part. Yeah. I'll have the sled, so we can just split it up. You know, Spence, you can come over with the sled with me. We'll go OLBs and D-line over there first. Inside backers and DBs go scallop, then we'll switch it.
All those stops around the NFL have transformed Graham into a seasoned coach, and his career has essentially come full circle, considering many of the individuals he's learned from have ties to the Giants organization. That's why Patrick is now continuing that trend and applying those lessons to his defensive unit.
The fact that my football career and the people I learned football from, you know, starting with Charlie Weiss, you know, who was here with the Giants, has ties to the Giants. I learned from Coach Belichick.
He's got to get it down the field very much time. Double seam, X and Z Q, those deep Q patterns now, okay? And he'll try to scramble it into 2 minutes. We got to do a good job of keeping him in front of us in the pocket, okay?
Pepper Johnson was there, like Carl Banks when he used to come visit Pepper and Bill, and they just let me just sit in the room and just listen. I shut up and I just listen. Like, I learned so much football from people involved in the Giants.
You thought we wasn't real, didn't you? This is real, boy. NYG.
You know, I got to learn from Spags when Spags was here. You know, Spags, another person who was very, very organized, 2-time Super Bowl champ.
It comes over to your side, and the fullback gets wide out here. When the tackle blocks down, the tailback's going to block and jump right over.
I owe a lot to the people I learned from, because they all have ties back here to the Giants.
Time reps. It was easy. Everybody be out there. Okay.
Of all the relationships Graham's built throughout his career, the one friendship that continues to develop is with head coach Joe Judge. Their time together as Patriots assistants for 4 seasons proved their personalities are very different. But as is often the case, opposites do attract.
Now, I can tell you some funny stuff with Joe. I'm like, if you leave me to myself, like, I'm very antisocial. Like, sometimes I don't feel like talking to people. And so Joe and I sat next to each other on the plane. Joe has a great personality, very witty. Like, he wasn't having that, like, at all. Like, you know, I have my headphones on, talk to me, I do the whole take the headphone, huh? Yeah, I put it back on. So then Vonnie's like, Pat, listen, I'm going to talk to you. Just take your headphones off. And I just started laughing. And I said, you know what? All right. So then that's where, like, the friendship started on the plane there. And then, you know, every year at the Combine, we always got together for dinner or something. Joe helped me a lot in my career. So I owed him a lot right there.
And now they're helping each other through a new chapter of their relationship. Head coach and defensive coordinator of Big Blue. Much like Graham and Judge's friendship took some time to blossom, the same can be said for the dynamics of the players within the defense.
Like any good team I've been around, they came into work each day and they attacked that day. It wasn't about yesterday, it wasn't about the next day, it was about that day. I think this group of guys that we have right now, they think like that. They have a brotherhood. They interact well with each other. They're not afraid to get on each other. They hold each other accountable. And that's a big part of what I talk to them about is, you know, last year is our first year together. I tell them I got the keys in my pocket. I got the keys to the defense. But at some point, I need to hand the keys to you guys. Now, you got to earn the keys, but I want you to understand this is your defense. But you need for them to understand having that accountability. This group of guys, I think we have that.
No better way to test that accountability as Graham's defense gears up for the 2021 campaign. That may require weathering a storm or two. There's a reason you see the lightning before you hear the thunder.